Right, hello Ian. So we're doing an interview here for the Buxton Advertiser for its Festival and Fringe Supplement 2025. And you are newly chair. But I wondered if you could tell me first of all, how did you first hear about the Fringe and get involved with it?
I'm sure that the first way I got involved was in an audience, but I can't remember quite when or quite what. Now you ask. Because we've been living in the area for, oh crikey, how long now? Over 35 years. Not actually in Buxton all that time, but pretty close by. And I'm pretty sure that I was in the audience before I was doing anything by way of performance. I think then the second way I got involved was when my wife Carol was performing. Some years ago, she sang with a string quartet and got one of the awards for doing the Juliet Letters. And I think she also did a couple of things with Caroline Small, who wrote some pieces to link songs together. And I then got involved in performing, I suspect, first with community choir type things, so with relatively big groups, then with smaller folk groups, and latterly on my own, because it seems people don't want to perform with me anymore.
No, of course they do.
No, it's all right. But no, so latterly. As a solo performer, but it doesn't take very long to get in contact with the people who are involved in running the Fringe, because there's, if you go to some of the events we organise, like Fringe Sundays and programme launch parties and things, then you will start chatting with committee members, other trustees, people who volunteer in other ways, so you soon get to know. We're quite a friendly lot, really. So.
Yeah, well, we have got this reputation as being friendly Fringe, with my other hat on as marketing officer for Fringe. And do you think, but actually, of the Fringe chairs we've had, by no means all of them, in fact, most people haven't been. Right, sorry about a little interruption. Yeah, I was going to say that. Of all our Fringe chairs, I would say probably most of them haven't been performers, but you are a performer. And does that give you an advantage or a bit of a special insight, do you think? Or how does that help you as chair?
I think it does add a little to it, because in a sense, the service that we provide as the Fringe itself to the performers is to publicise the events that they're putting on as part of the Fringe, that they've entered into the Fringe. We're, being an open entry, multi arts Fringe, we're not booking acts, we're not managing venues, and what we're there to do is to publicise, at least as a prime function, to publicise the shows as best we can and get the best audience we can for the performers, and an appropriate audience, so getting the right information out to the audience so that audience members don't turn up to something that they might have been able to tell in advance wasn't for them.
That's a good point, yeah.
So it's about communicating what's going on and a little bit about the nature of it. So the performer's description as they put in their entry that goes into the programme onto the website is important to get that right. So it was useful in trying to get the right representation when I was doing the entries, for example. And it's always in the artist's interests to get a good audience, because it's not without a cost. There is a payment to enter with us, and there are other costs. There are usually a venue cost, often a performing rights cost, and there might be other costs in addition. And given that Fringe audiences are relatively small, I don't think anybody's retiring on what they make at a Fringe run.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
But the more people, the more bums on seats, the better.
Yes. And I know performing, well, I've done a tiny bit of performing myself, and it's a lot of fun, but I know also there can be mishaps, there can be challenges. Anything come to mind in your experiences of being a Fringe performer?
If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And you know, the usual things are true. They always say never work with animals and children, but I would add technology to that probably, because the technology's sometimes a problem. If it can wait not to work until the night of the performance, it will. I can't think of anything that specifically happened to me because I try to keep it simple. But you know, things can go wrong. I mean, we did have a performance at one point that was I don't think it was a Fringe performance. But it was in Tideswell Church where there was a power cut, and the choir that were involved, I think it was Albion, finished the gig with the audience members holding candles for them to read the music. It turned into a delightful evening, but it wasn't as planned, shall we say. But like I say, if it can go wrong, it will.
And I probably haven't said that, of course, you are a musician. So I'm imagining, but I'm maybe leaping in here, that your favourite genre of all our Fringe genres is music. Is that right, or have you got other favourites?
I could be even pickier within the music in that I like folk songs, because I suppose my little prejudice is coming out in that I like a good poem. Spoken word, but why didn't they put it to a tune? And I like a good tune, but why didn't they put some words with it?
Yeah.
And so I kind of gravitate towards songs, but the great thing is that everything, you know, all sorts of things I've seen have turned out to be delightfully brilliant.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. And there have been several years where the favourite thing that I've had from the Fringe was not music. It was something that surprised me in other senses. In particular, you know, I won't single out individuals, but there've been at least a couple of solo performances of dramatic pieces that I thought were absolutely brilliant and knocked my socks off in different ways. So no, I think if in doubt, go to something. If you're in between two Fringe gigs and there's a gap and something to go to, give it a try if you can.
Yeah.
Because you never know that you're going to go around a corner and see or hear something that really surprises you.
You're like me. You get into a situation where, because you're seeing all these shows, there's no time to eat, is there? But you know, it's worth it, isn't it?
Oh well, but I just have to eat, otherwise I can't concentrate. But yeah, I take your point. Yeah, it is difficult.
Yes, and I won't ask you to single out particular acts, but have you got any general impressions about this year's lineup? It's a big Fringe again, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great that we're getting back to numbers that are almost like the peak. I think it's a bit different. The balance might be a bit different, partly because of the changes that people are aware of with the managed venues. So there's probably more comedy than there might usually be because the venues are available. Maybe a bit less music. I haven't completely been through what there is yet. There is so much. But I have, however, availed myself of Underground's early opportunity to buy tickets.
Right. Yes.
So I've already got some things in the diary. Again, no names mentioned, but trying to spot the ones that I really want to make sure I see.
Yeah.
And particularly ones that you might think might be well known, so they'll sell out. You know, people who've come back, who people you know have almost developed a Buxton Fringe following. There'll be some of those will be booked up.
Yeah.
So I'll be booking up quickly, I guess. So it's an opportunity people can take now to try and at least start to get something in the diary to structure your Fringe around.
Absolutely, and the Opera House tickets should be on sale from the beginning of June.
Yeah.
So in terms of Fringe shows that are taking up the Opera House's offer to sell tickets.
I think one thing that is quite good is that some of the things that we've had that are out of town that haven't been here necessarily every year, some of those are back in this year. I think we've got things from Chelmorton and other places around. I know that in the past we've had things even further afield, but it's good that people are seeing the Fringe as something beneficial for what they're putting on to be associated with and to use us to help publicise it.
Yeah. And I was thinking, in your past involvement with the Fringe, you've organised Fringe Sunday and Fringe on Friday. How do you think these events help performers, and what's in it for audiences as well about those?
Well, the audience bit's fairly easy. Is that you if you go to those things, you'll get some idea of what some of the performers are going to do. We couldn't conceivably provide an opportunity for every performer to do that, and not every performer's able to because of other commitments that many of them have got. Got to remember that performers are often only here for a few days while they do one or a handful of shows, and then they might be somewhere else doing other shows, the same show, I guess. But so it gives you an idea of at least some of the performers, and if there's a name that you don't know about but you've got some sort of interest in, at least you get some idea what they might be doing. From a performer's point of view, it's an opportunity to sell what you're doing to audience. Obviously, need to bear in mind that I think some things work better at those open air kind of events than others. I think spoken word can be a little difficult in a big space, but it can work very well. It just depends. But it's worth, as a performer, thinking carefully as to whether what you do is suitable for those sort of open air things where people might engage only as they're passing and not actually stop.
Yes.
But just trying to give people a flavour of what you're doing, as long as you're aware of what sort of events we're talking about. And the weather is a big imponderable. If the weather's good, there's usually a lot of people around. If the weather's not so good, probably the people who are there might be there to see you. So it's still worth.
We've had it in downpours, haven't we? And it actually worked amazingly well under the bandstand, quite an atmosphere, didn't it?
Yeah, you sometimes get the more dedicated, the hardcore Fringe audiences are the ones who come along, and it's still worth publicising what you're doing to those people. So there's a lot of opportunities.
We've sort of touched on this, but is there any more to say about just in general why on earth should a performer be part of Buxton Fringe? It's a very, very general one, isn't it? But
I think the great thing about the Fringe and other fringes, I think, is it gives a very wide range of performers an opportunity to perform. It's a good place to start because it's not like hiring a big venue. It's not like taking a massive risk. It will give you an opportunity to see whether people will respond to what you're doing, and it gives you a chance to experiment a little bit. I mean, we get a number of the shows that are work in progress where people are still slightly testing ideas for whether they'll work, whether that's something in a dramatic sense or comedy, particularly comedy, I guess. So I think whereas if on the other hand you're more professional, we've got some venues that have got reasonable audience sizes. You can put on more than one performance. You can get a little run going and get a little bit of momentum behind what you're doing, and similarly get the feedback from the audiences.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's also the opportunity to get the odd review quote for your future publicity.
That's right.
As well.
Yes, yeah.
Arguably most use if you are doing a little run.
Yeah.
Because the review, when we do the reviews, they go up the following day, so that once your first performance is done, there's something out there that giving more detail than you could possibly put in the program description about what you are doing, and that will give the audiences for your forthcoming performances the opportunity to get a much better idea of what you're doing, whether they like it.
Yeah.
It's always better having an audience who are suited to what you're doing, and not somebody who's there because of a misunderstanding about what you're doing, or an assumption that's wrong.
Yeah. I don't think you really want to answer this, but I am impressed by the fact you have a lot of life experience. You've been around the world a lot. You've on world cruises. You've been you're a retired public health consultant. That experience came in pretty useful when we had COVID and things. And you're chair of Transition Buxton. Do you feel a little bit without? I know you don't blow your own trumpet, but you have a lot of life experience to bring to this role as chair.
Yeah, but I think some of it's useful. It's useful to see other places, because I mean, when we have been travelling more recently, since I got more involved with the Fringe, I do kind of go around places with a different eye, trying to pick up a little bit more information about what's going on. If I see a theatre or a music venue or something, I try and nose around about how it works and what's under the hood, as the Americans would say.
Yes.
And it's been useful with Carol and I running Quaison cruise ships, because apart from anything else, working with the tech guys on those cruise ships and the entertainments managers, the people who actually program things, seeing how they do it, very, very tight. I mean, it's a truism to say that a cruise ship is a tight ship. It is very, it's a very complex organisational task to provide a very wide-ranging, engaging program of entertainment for people while they're on board. And it's interesting how things adapt, and how you have to be flexible and prepared to step in and do things that are unexpected. If somebody can't do something for whatever reason, we've had sword swallowing acts cancelled because of the weather on a cruise ship. You won't be surprised to learn. You don't juggle with sharp objects and things when the ship's moving and you're balanced on a ball.
Yes.
Sometimes they have to. The juggling that goes on is just amazing, and how people get round it, and you get the same sort of spirit. We had that last year with one of the Fringe on Fridays, when we had to do some moving around because of other things that were going on in the space, and people just mucked in and everybody just got on with it. And it's that sort of thing that you do get with people who are performing. They will try and make it happen if they can, especially if there's somebody there waiting for them to do it.
And I think going back to your performing experience, it's that show must go on. We all believe in that,
it is a truism, but people do actually try and make sure it happens. I go back to concerts by candlelight and things.
Anything else though you want to bring in at this point, or?
I'm just delighted to be involved.
We're delighted to have you.
I think it's I would like to say that, the length of time that this Fringe has been going on and the number of people who've been involved means that it does operate in a particular way. It's got a history some of which we want to keep, but nothing will ever completely stand still. And so we've got to keep considering how we might develop, how we might get even closer to the performers and the audiences, so that we can actually do more and do it better, and bring a whole range of things to a wider range of people.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Ian. I think that's been very interesting and lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.